Doesn't that make you a criminal?
No, it doesn't.
To come across the border illegally?
Coming into the country illegally is a civil offense.
We have sued! We have stopped him! Check, 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 check!
People better wake up and do some research on their own instead of buying what comes across on the screen. And I try to shake them up, Pires. You're goddamn right I do.
Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for watching. Let me show you something very cool.
It's cool. It's not cool.
Okay, not so much cool as it is utterly maddening.
Now that makes much more sense.
Today I have 3 clips for you that are so cool, they're gonna drive you mad. With the first one being Roseanne Barr completely destroying Piers Morgan on his own show.
I'm from the Ukraine. There is a large faction of Nazis. I don't know if you know this, but there's a large amount of Nazis in the Ukraine, and they actually killed my whole family. I'm from the Ukraine, and they marched my entire family, grandmothers, great-grandparents, 10 siblings out into the forest and buried them alive in the Ukraine. So I don't understand why everybody's Ukraine. Well, I do understand, and that's also what terrifies me. People better wake up and do some research on their own instead of buying what comes across on the screen. And I try to shake them up, Pires. You're goddamn right I do. I try to shake them up and crack their mind control programming. I do it for God.
Well, here's Roseanne, what I would say to that. I don't agree with you about a lot of the stuff you said about Ukraine. I know what you said, and you're perfectly entitled to your views. I would say in relation to the suggestion that they're all a bunch of Nazis.
You haven't seen the swastikas on those soldiers' arms.
The President Zelensky himself is Jewish, so obviously he is de facto not a Nazi.
I know, but he's not a good one. Are all Jews the same? For God's sake, talk about anti-Semitic. Just because the guy's a Jew doesn't mean he likes Jews.
Maybe. I don't know.
Wow, that's a super flimsy argument, Piers. Like many of you, I've seen all the videos and pictures over the years with Ukrainian soldiers having Nazi tattoos or wearing Nazi symbols. I know they also celebrate holidays that are dedicated to infamous Nazis, but I've always been skeptical of the Ukrainians are Nazis narrative, mostly because it started in Russia as a justification for the invasion. I'm skeptical for that reason, in part because this exact narrative existed only about US troops during the Iraq and Afghanistan wars, with people posting similar pictures of US troops with Nazi symbols. Hell, I've seen plenty of videos and pictures of Russian soldiers wearing Nazi symbols. Yes, there are wannabe Nazis in all of our militaries, but this then doesn't make the entire country Nazis. That being said, Piers Morgan's extremely weak argument that Ukrainians can't be Nazis because Zelensky is Jewish is laughable. All right, now moving on to the next one, and I'm sure it's gonna raise your blood pressure. Democrats continue to incite violence against their political opponents.
I knew it. I'm surrounded by assholes. Hands off! Hands off Social Security! Hands off special education! Hands off Medicaid! I have sued him 3 times just this week. We have sued! We have stopped him! Check, 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 check! Have you lost the will to fight? Are you in this fight with me every day? Then let's go!
Why don't you just chill? Figure we's a little Jews.
Doesn't it just bring your piss to a boil? Especially after the last 4 years of Democrats claiming anything they don't want to hear is stochastic terrorism. They even blamed and tried to prosecute Donald Trump for supposedly inciting January 6th by telling people to fight.
That's different.
But wait a minute, isn't that what Democrats are constantly telling their people to do? Of course, but it's totally different when they do it. And that is due in large part to our media being their personal propaganda machine, who would never, ever blame them for inciting violence. Why is that? Well, they do have a shared ideology and political party, but that's not the only reason. It's also because if they blame the Democrats, they'd also have to blame themselves because they're just as guilty. They managed to get an attempt on SCOTUS judges and then 2 attempts against Donald Trump, which resulted in 1 dead Trump supporter. But they faced absolutely 0 accountability for that, so they'll just continue doing it. Expect more of this as Democrat poll numbers continue to plummet. All right, now last, but definitely not least, Scott Jennings brutally schools expose Abby Phillips, who apparently doesn't know what she's talking about.
7 million means that they're not just going after criminals.
Excuse me. What?
Well, they're going after people who are in the country illegally, right?
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying the criminals, this is a much bigger universe than
Doesn't that make you a criminal?
No, it doesn't.
To come across the border illegally?
Coming into the country illegally is a civil offense. It's not a criminal offense.
Okay, if you come into the country illegally, here's the message. We're going to find you and send you back. I mean, I'm sorry, that's the way it is. And I think the government should pull all the levers at its disposal to find people and pull this off. It's what the American people asked Donald Trump to do. Yes, they should be deporting violent people. Yes, they should be deporting people who committed violent acts before they came here. But at some juncture, if you're going to allow any illegal immigration at all, the message then goes out. Just get here, it'll probably work out for you. That was the last administration. This is a different one.
This little piggy went to market. This little piggy stayed home. And this little piggy, oh mama, oh mama. Wee, all the way home.
So let me tell you something, Mr. Trump. You gonna learn a few lessons from us. You and your little friend off of Twitter. Y'all about to find out, all right?
How the hell does someone like Abby Phillips get such a prominent position as an anchor on a supposedly fact-based news show when she clearly doesn't know what she's talking about?
Opus Dei.
I'm actually surprised that Jennings didn't dunk on her harder for that. Maybe he feels bad for her, or maybe he's got orders not to make her look too stupid. I don't know. What do you all think? Let me know in the comments, and if you're still here, might as well hit that like button and subscribe. I do post videos on a regular basis, just like I have for the last 7 or more years, so make sure to keep checking back for more. Thanks a lot.